I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. I probably should plan stuff and write stuff out and have an idea of what I'm going to say because it would probably go smoother. Maybe that's the essence of what makes me me. All right, so 4 years ago today, sitting in my apartment in Fort Mill, and we've been praying for my dad because he had been sick, and my brother said to me, "Dad's in heaven." The phone rang, and he said, "Dad's in heaven," and it was amazing. Like your life changes, just like that. And today's the anniversary of his death, so I want to celebrate. I couldn't really talk about it. I'm going to talk a little bit about my dad today. In the last couple years, they've just, I think I'm maybe ready to do it. And the way Tommy delivered the news was so beautiful to me. Oversharing this whole video. When I was a young man, my grandfather died, my dad's dad. Okay. I was in the library at our house with Tommy, and the phone rang, and it was my dad's brother, Robert. And this is what he said. You ready? The ring rang. Hello. Dad's dead. And that's what he said. That's how he delivered the news. And I remember hearing how he delivered that news to his brother. I love my uncle. He's the only uncle I have left. There's another one, but he's passed. I love my uncle. But I was mad at him for my whole life for telling him that way. I thought, holy crap, couldn't you have done a better job? And then 4 years ago today, my brother said, "Dad's in heaven." What a star for telling me the way that he told me. So, I had the greatest dad in the world. He was the gold standard of dads. Katie Purry is joining us for this video. She's exhausted from being such a fast-growing kitty cat. She's almost 8 pounds now. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, there's a song. It's by Mike and the Mechanics. Maybe not. I should have researched this. But one of the lyrics in the song is, "My life has been a poor attempt to imitate the man." Maybe it's not for some kids. I'm lucky. I had a great dad. I know so many people. Most people don't have a dad. I mean, nobody has a dad like I had a dad. But I knew kids who didn't have a dad at all. So they may not be able to relate. But I had a great one. And that's been my life. Everything he did better. So, let me show you some pictures. There is my dad. He was a stud. He was a he was a beast. That's the day he married my mother. He was able to be with one woman his whole life. Can't get that right either. It's their wedding day. I'm showing you stuff that I probably shouldn't be showing you. I didn't clear this with anybody. When my dad's health failed, the channel had already started, and I decided his health was bad, and I didn't have roots. Well, I was going through a divorce. So I decided I was going to move to Reno and spend as much time with my dad as I could. Figures. Anyway, I wanted to spend as much time with my father as I could. It's the beauty of having a pause button. I can get something to drink. My dad's his health was failing, so I moved to Reno. I've not done a whole lot of great things in my life. I really haven't. But I think one of the greatest moves I ever did was move to Reno and spend that time with him. I spent as much time with him as I could. The job I had, I worked from home, so I could be with him all day. We had a lot of fun together, and his energy was failing. He had congestive heart failure. He was just, you know what? It's terrible to watch somebody die. But he was my hero, you know. He was always my hero. He got me into peppers. That's why this channel happened. Anyway, his health was really bad, and his energy was just down, and he would sleep so much. And then, but he used to get excited, perk up when I would make a video. Whether he wasn't even in them, but he'd perk up. And one day I said, I got the idea. I said, let's make a cheese video. And but he perked up big time. But he says, you can't do that. It's a chili video, chili channel. I said, oh yeah, they'll fire me. So, boss, if people don't like it, they don't like it. So it's like I explained to my dad, it's like a buffet. People choose what they want to watch, and they just pass on the stuff that doesn't appeal to them. I said, but I think it would be fun. So he agreed, and we made a chili a cheese channel video. And the great thing is, it really perked him up, and he liked it. He was a natural behind the camera. Every good thing that I've got, I owe to him. My ability to communicate and speak to people. I didn't get my dashing good looks from my dad because I look a lot like my dad. At any rate, we started making cheese videos together, and we did a lot of cheese videos together, and it really did, man. It gave him life. I really believe it bought him time. Then we started doing barbecue videos, and it even got to the point where we did a couple of videos where he ate peppers. Where like there's the old man. Sometimes I look in a mirror and I see him. Weirds me out. Sometimes Tommy will look at me, and I know what he's thinking when he's looking at me. I'm like, happened again. And he goes like, I can tell by the way he looks at me. He's seeing that. It's a curse. Anyway, he got hiccups a couple times from eating something too hot. He was in the Netflix special with me. Netflix came to my home and we filmed it, and he was in the Netflix special, which was so cool. And Brian Scopes was the producer of the Hulu the reality show I was in, and I got to know Brian really well. And they put a clip of my dad in there just to honor my dad and to do that for me. Anyway, it really bought him time. I believe it extended his life. But his health was starting to go bad there. Here, this picture here, we were in. Look at him; he's just always just smiling. We were in the hospital. He had some test he had to get done. I went with him. He never lost his smile. Again, there he is. His health was declining. Here's a throwback when I was a kid with the hair. But I had the greatest dad. I really did. I got like the athletic ability I got. Like the only good things in my life. I was a great athlete. Where did I get that from? It didn't matter what sport my dad did. He was just great at it. Really weird thing about it. A lot of weird things. When he first died, for a couple of weeks, I did for a couple of weeks. I found myself like in the middle of a text message texting him. Never got to the point where I hit send, but I realized what I was doing. I was like, what in the world are you doing? And since he's died, there's been a million times where I've wanted to ask him for advice. It's weird. He was just like, as a father, I've screwed up a million times, you know? As a human being, I'm going to release a book pretty soon. I just screwed up every way possible. And I'm trying to be like him, you know? I say a lot. It's like Tommy and I are playing a game of, it's like catch up ball. It's late in the fourth quarter, and we screwed up for 3 quarters in a row. And it's like a full court press. We're trying to we want to make him proud. He saw me get sober. He saw Tommy get sober, which is just, thank God for that. He saw the channel do well, you know. But like seriously, in life, I was a criminal for a long time. I never got any of those things from him, you know, none of it. He never got arrested. He was just a stellar guy. He didn't have any addictions. So all the bad crap I did, it was all me, bad decisions. That's the truth, you know. But the good stuff I was a great tennis player. He would like all of the athletic ability I had. I was a natural, and I got it from him. It's like you just tossed me a ball, and I was immediately good at it. But it was skiing. It didn't matter the sport, but I got that from him. It wasn't even like that was me. It was, even that wasn't me. Like he was he was a sales guy. He was a headhunter, you know. And so I listened to him talk every day. He'd come home from work. At the end of the day, at the end of that, we'd eat dinner together. He was just a good guy, you know. But we'd eat dinner together. Then after dinner, we had an hour or so before I had to go to bed. I was a little kid, you know. And he had an office off to the side of the living room. And he would sit, and he called them search calls. We would call. He had a list. It was his list. He was a phone guy, man, and he would call people that had a gig, they had a job, and he would basically say, you know, like, "Are you happy?" Because he had a company that came to him and said, "Hey, we're looking for this." So he'd find people that fit it. He'd say, "I can get you a bit bigger salary and pay for the move. Would you be interested?" And he'd steal people. He was a headhunter, great at it. But I listened to him. Tommy and I listened to him. He was the best phone guy in the world. So like all the phone, like all this, just the way I am with people, I got that from him. So truly, every good thing I have in my life, I got from him. And in spite of all that, I still been a dumpster fire, you know? It's got a wicked hairy foot. Anyway, I had a great dad. You know, I know so many people. If you have a dad, hang on 1 second. I probably shouldn't show you this. This is about as personal as it gets. Should have blocked out my mom, but that's my mom. That's my dad. In my opinion, my dad has like an angelic look about him in that picture. And that was the last time I ever saw him alive. Ever saw him, period. Talk to my dad every day, but I would call my dad. Every day I called. And he never called me. On February 27th, 4 years ago, he FaceTimed me. I thought it was about time or something. But it wasn't. It was him who was sitting there. He was in Arizona. He was here, not in this house, but he looked at me. I snapped a picture while the call happened because he looked like an angel. He had this peaceful, wicked, angelic look about him to me. And he said, "I'm dying, Johnny." Excuse me. I said, I know. I said, are you scared? I didn't know he meant that night, or I would have asked a lot more questions. I didn't know he meant that night. Anyway, I said, are you scared? He chuckled and said, no, I'm not. He had just got off the phone with Tommy. He told Tommy he was proud of him, the changes he had made, and he told me he was proud of me. I didn't deserve that. He said, I need you to do me a favor. I said, sure. What are you going to say, right? He goes, I want you to take care of your mother. Don't leave her. So I said, of course. Playing with a cat foot. I'm hanging onto the cat foot. Anyhow, that night, he died. And really, if it weren't for medicine, modern medicine, he'd have been dead 25 or 30 years earlier. He's one of the toughest dudes. Like, seriously. I learned he's been dead. He gets smarter every day. That sounds stupid. He gets smarter every day. Things he said to me. Like, I'd like to have one more conversation with him. I know I will one day. I believe that. But I want to make him proud of me. As I'm making this, I'm debating whether or not to turn off comments. Because you guys are all so sweet and you're all going to leave amazing comments. I'm not doing this video for sympathy. You know what I'm doing it for? Because I couldn't do it last year. I couldn't get through it. I need to be a better man. But I really am trying. And it sounds like a cop out, but I am trying. Like, I know he made a lot of mistakes in his life. I sure as hell didn't see him. And it's a curse going through life looking like it. I saw a family member a few days ago that I hadn't seen in a long time. And I knew what he was going to say to me when he saw me. He said, oh my gosh, you look like your dad. I see it when I shave. And the weirdest thing is the older I get, the more I see it. And the curse in that is he was such a good man. And the divide from the kind of man I am to what he was, pretty big. I treat my cat really good. I got a very happy cat. That's a happy cat. You would never know by how comfortable she looks, but I shoved a pill down her throat a few minutes ago. She's on antibiotics. The Chile community. Here's the funny thing. My dad had fans. They loved him. There were a lot of people that really, to this day, To this day, there are videos. I get comments still. And sometimes people don't know that he's dead and they say, "Gosh, your dad's great. Why don't you make more videos?" Andrew Brown is a friend of mine. Good guy. Known him for years. Pepperoncini is what got me into peppers. My dad, I was a little boy. My dad was eating peppers, pepperoncini. I'm sorry. And I said, I want one. He said, "You won't like it." I said, "I want one." He said, "You won't like it." Excuse me. I kept saying I want one, and he kept saying, "You won't like it, you won't like it." And finally he tapped out because I was relentless. I was relentless. And he gave me a pepperoncini, and I really liked it. And that's honestly what started my love for spice. So I became friends with Andrew, and truthfully, there are going to be people that leave comments here. It's one of the reasons I'm not going to block the comments, because there are people that really love my dad. But Andrew Brown made a hot sauce for my dad in honor of my father. The flavor is pepperoncini. It's called Papa and Chini. Anyway, he didn't even realize it, but he left a mark in the chili community. Anyway, I'm trying to be better. I really am. But anyway, I wanted to. He was a great man. You know what he'd be telling me? Like, here's the thing: you guys don't realize it. Was some of you do because you're content creators, but some of you don't realize if you're not. It's the strangest way in the world to make a living. It really is. It's just the strangest way in the world to make a living. I've said this before. I was a bad guy I was a criminal for a while, about a year. So there were people that hated me and wanted to kill me. But every one of them that hated me and wanted to kill me had a very, very good reason for it. They all had a good reason for it. If you read the book, you'll find out. But they all had a concrete, definable reason. We could almost hang a date and a time on it. Yeah, this is the time. This is the reason. But I have legions of people who hate me. Now, as a content creator, people that I don't know. And it's an interesting thing, when you have the only thing you risk when you become a content creator is failure, right? But you put yourself out there and you make yourself vulnerable, and you have, and you become a target, So I think if I could ask my dad advice today, I think he'd say? I think he'd say, you climb to the top of that mountain. Go find a different mountain and climb. You'll get to the top. So what I'm going to do today is I'm trying to figure out if that's the advice he would have given me. It's a drag when your hero dies. Thank you for watching. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this was Chase the Heat.